Yo, so the next playtest was finally announced. It isn't as soon as I would hope for, but I'm more than happy to wait and let Iron Mace do their thing and really polish the game before the next playtest. I'm really excited to see what new things they're going to come up with, and I'm most excited for the addition of B1, which is floor 1. If you didn't know, you start out on floor 2, and then you have the option of going down to floor 3. So we haven't seen floor 1 yet, but really excited to see that next playtest. I'm pretty sure they're going to have it next playtest. Don't quote me on that. Okay, on to the tier list.
Bruh.
Disclaimer, before I trigger anybody on this tier list, it's for entertainment/educational purposes only. I'm aware that Iron Mace's priority at the moment isn't game balance, and that's something they're going to tackle when they finish the game. Everything here is just my opinion. I've dumped at least 100 hours into every single playtest for the last 3 playtests, so take that as you will. But at least know that I have an unhealthy amount of playtime in this game, and these rankings aren't just pulled out of my ass. Oh, and also this tier list is for 3v3 PvP, not solo or PvE potential, just strictly how well these classes perform in a squad team fight, PvP. Let's get into it, starting with the Cleric. I'm going to be placing the Cleric in S tier. Being able to spam a giant instant heal with very little time in between casting, no cooldowns or anything, is insanely strong in a game like this. This is like Overwatch support levels of healing in a game that is way slower paced and isn't a first person shooter. Along with spammable barriers, Divine Strike and Bless and all of that, Cleric is a huge asset to any team comp. And for that reason, it's going to be S tier because it works at any team comp. As long as they know their role as support and buff their team and heal and use all their abilities. And also, bind is very good.
He's gonna die to mobs.
Get him.
Maybe.
Oh. Yeah, kill him, Boogie.
I only see like top level clerics ever using it, but once players have more experience, I'm sure people are going to start using bind and going to be showing up a lot more, and I think it's a super powerful spell. Also, I think Judgment is kind of cheesy and unmissable magic damage nuke just for pressing the Q button is pretty cheesy in my opinion. Maybe it's balanced, but I just think it's pretty cheesy. Anyway, Cleric is going in S tier. Next we got the Rogue. Didn't see many rogues as playtests, probably for a good reason. A team comp with the Rogue is very reliant on the enemy pushing them and getting off a successful assassination. The Rogue does get a successful kill off, then you're at a huge advantage, but if they don't, they're pretty much useless for the rest of the whole team fight. And sometimes even after getting a kill, they're probably so low that they need to run out of danger and be pretty useless anyway, like you see here.
Couple shots, so stay left and right.
One of them went right, I think.
Oh, rogue. I'm dead. There's no way I live with that rogue.
Alright, you're good, you're good. Going for this rogue. Swap back to Barbarian. Goddamn. Fuck me.
Relying on the enemy to push you and having the fight be determined by if the Rogue successfully gets an assassination off is a bit of a gamble when you could just run something like a Barb instead and have the same pressure, but a Barb will always be a threat without needing his cooldowns like invisibility or hiding in the shadows. Oh, and also a Rogue without gear is pretty useless. A fully geared Rogue is another beast completely, but even so, I think there's just better options. Next up, we got the Ranger. Ranger will always be a solid pick. I can't think of a time where Rangers weren't very good, aside from the beginning of this playtest where they completely fucked up the bow trajectory. I don't know if that was a bug or whatever. I don't know if that was intended, but they did fix it a few days in. Rangers work with any team comp as well. More range damage is never a bad thing. And the meta team comp right now, which is Barb, Wizard, Cleric, is somewhat countered by a bow user with good aim. Rangers can win a team fight before it even begins and do a rogue's job without being in any danger of dying. A good ranger is extremely hard to kill, and an excellent ranger is scary in close range and long range. With the help of the triple shot skill, which might be the best skill in the game honestly.
I dropped 2 of them, all 3 of them. I think I just dropped all 3 of them with the triple shot. I'm not even gonna fucking troll right there. I just dropped all 3 of them with the triple shot.
And multi-shot is very slept on.
I'll kill the mage once he gets in. Oh, mage stealth.
Oh, he
Yeah,
got
I'm coming up.
fucked. Yeah, that skill can one-shot barbarians with good aim, which is another reason why they work so well against the buff ball comp. Ranger is going in A tier. I know many people would put this class as the best last playtest, but I don't think it is. Yeah, it's very effective and very easy, which is never a healthy combination. I hate to make another Overwatch reference because that game sucks, but look at heroes in that game like Mora and Brigitte. 0 mechanics required, but extremely effective and some of the best heroes in the game. That's never a good combo for gaming. I think Barb is only a top class when paired with a wizard with haste plus invis. Other than that, Barbarian is still a strong pick and a good replacement for a fighter, while also countering fighter. A Barb without haste, I would put in A tier since this is a list on how well they perform on a team. I can't assume they'll always be on a team with a wizard, so it's hard to place this, but with a wizard, I would put Barb a lot higher than Ranger, but without a wizard, I think Ranger is just slightly better. A team with a good bow user or a good wizard or both will shut down a barbarian without haste. There's almost nothing he can do. But the real thing that makes Barb OP, in my opinion right now, is something really broken. And honestly, I would put him in S tier, and that's the Francisca axe. The Francisca axes. The throwing axes. The massive, disgusting slow on these things makes it so Barb is no longer just a melee threat, and with an inventory full of throwing axes, a Barb can actually counter being kited to death and chase anyone down.
네?
나이스 나이스.
아니야 안 죽었네.
뭐야?
뭐야?
쳤어.
찔렀는데
쳤어.
The massive slow makes it so Barb only needs to land 1 axe and it's game over for whoever he is. The insane slow combined with Barb's very unfair selection of perks, particularly this perk that gives a plus 10 flat damage to all axes, including throwing axes, which I think is unnecessary as hell. There should be no plus 10 flat damage perks. It should be maybe like a 5% damage buff when using an axe, but flat 10, that's just asking to be abused. And you can use it on throwing axes, that's just stupid. A flat plus 10 damage added onto that insane slow is way too much. I first see Iron Mace realizing how abusable this is and probably nerfing that nonsense, so I'm gonna disregard the throwing axe abuse in regards to this tier list because I had never ran into any barbs with full inventories full of axes like that. So that wasn't a real common thing to run into, so I didn't see it at all. Disregarding that, I would put Barb in the A tier. But yeah, Barb being hard countered by range and being able to be easily kited, I'm gonna have to put Barb in A tier. Moving on to Fighter. Fighter seems to have gotten left behind, being hard countered by the current meta. The only use of a fighter now is honestly being a tankier ranger. And honestly being a jack of all trades type character, I think this kind of fits the fighter well. And having to make decisions like using your bow versus your sword and knowing when to engage and in what situations you need to smash that Q button and get the hell out of there. The difference between a good and bad fighter. Fighter is in a rough spot and it's hard to justify having a fighter on your team when Barbarian exists, but the ability to use bows are the fighter's saving grace. They're still here. Headshot the fighter.
Alright, I'm coming.
Hit him again. Hit him again. I think I killed him, I'm not sure. I did shoot did you kill the fighter right here?
No, you killed him.
I'll be placing fighter in B tier. because they work well with squads. Yeah, he isn't as strong as other classes right now, but just like Ranger and Cleric, he works well with almost all team comps. The only thing right now stopping a fighter from being up there or even above Barbs or Rangers, in my opinion, it's their laughable perks. Their perks are some of the worst in the game, honestly. Like, I've done some number crunching on the perks, their values, and all that. Kind of a joke. You need to have 200 armor rating worth of gear just to get 20 armor rating from what is deemed to be their best perk, which is Defense Expert. That's 5% physical damage reduction. And you need 200 armor rating worth of armor just to make this perk give you 5% more damage reduction. Pretty lackluster compared to something like Iron Will. A Barbarian simply needs to just select the perk and he instantly gets 100 MR, which is about 20% magic damage reduction. No purchase is required, nothing else. And also Swift is kind of a bait perk as well. Minus 20% movement penalty from armor seems nice, but you would need to be wearing full plate, all plate armor just to get decent value out of it. You would need to be wearing full plate to get 4.5% move speed. And yeah, you might be thinking 5% move speed is a lot, but keep in mind, you'll be wearing the heaviest armor in the game. Yeah, 5% is a lot if you already are moving quickly, but 5% on top of a fully plated fighter that's moving super slow is not much. Plus, you get almost no value out of this perk if you're not wearing almost all plate. Also, the skills on fighter are all very interesting ideas. I would love to try out the other fighter skills, but compared to second wind and sprint, the values on the other skills are just piss poor, and compared to the starter skills, I just can't justify using them without feeling like I'm playing at a huge disadvantage. Let's be honest, most people don't even know what the other fighter skills are because they're almost never used. With some tweaks and number changes to fighter perks and skills, I think fighter would be in an amazing spot, but I don't want them to see them buffed too much as they can quickly get overpowered with just a few tweaks. Next we got the Almighty Wizard. D&D Dark and Darker still has a bit of a wizard problem. They currently do too much still, and they're pretty much running the game, speedrunning lobbies, and they're just too oppressive once you learn the basics of a wizard. They can one-shot fighters, 2 to 3 shot any class with zap, and have insane mobility with haste and invis. I think by far the biggest problem is zap. Zap just doesn't belong in this game. It doesn't match the pacing, and it just feels like you're playing a whole different game from everyone else. It's kind of unfair. It's a pretty quickly casted spell. It's a hit scan spell, which means it's not a projectile, so it has no travel time or anything. If your cursor is on them when you cast it, they will get hit by it. And it also has a very generous hitbox, which is pretty ridiculous. I don't think any hit scan should have a hitbox like this. I also don't think hit scan should even be in a game like this. Anyone who understands how a mouse works will rarely miss a zap. An almost guaranteed hit scan with a giant hitbox that can be quickly spammed, that also 2 to 3 shots anyone with some magic damage gear on, is extremely unhealthy for a game like this. Iron Mace did a great job fixing the fireballs and improving the quality of life with meditation changes, and it was a great step in the right direction and made Wizard a lot more fluid to play. But they created a whole new monster when they added zap into the game. That leads me to my next problem. Currently the item rolls that give additional magic damage, yeah, those apply to damage over time. So things like zap, ignite, and fireball damage over time scales exponentially with additional magic damage gear on. I find it hard to believe this is intended by Iron Mace, because again, the game is in alpha and isn't fully released yet, and balance isn't their top priority, but I think they should definitely fix this item roll interaction before the next playtest. And also, and a lot of item rolls in general need some toning down or tweaking, and other ones need to be better because there's some useless rules right now. Currently there is little to no counterplay to a geared wizard other than shooting them in the head before they get in range to kill your whole team. Last playtest, I played wizard myself, and honestly, it felt like I was playing a whole different video game from everyone else. It honestly didn't feel very fair. So first and foremost, item rolls need to be fixed. Zap needs to be reworked or nerfed, Got him.
Nice.
Oh, mage is so stupid, bro. How's that fair? They couldn't do anything about that. I prefer it be reworked because I honestly don't think any hit scan with a giant hitbox should be in the game. And if they do decide to keep it a hit scan, it shouldn't do as much damage as it does. Also, I think Invis should not give a move speed bonus. It's already extremely powerful, just being an Invis that you can move around in. But other than the oversight on item roll interactions with magic damage, I think Wizard would be in a pretty balanced spot. As it stands now is just a bit too easy for Wizards to face roll lobbies. So for that, Wizard goes at the very top of S tier. I would like to see the power taken away from Zap and instead give it to Ice Bolt and Lightning Strike, because currently those are both meme spells and inferior in almost every way to the other spells. But yeah, that is just my opinions on the game balance and how strong each class is. Yeah, let me know in the comments below what you guys think of my rankings. If you agree or disagree, I would like to hear it. Thank you guys for watching.